And welcome to this month's BookBlast Translation Book Club here at wonderful Hatchards. And we're featuring Karim Kattan's novel The Palace on the Higher Hill, translated by Geoffrey Zuckerman, published by Foundry Editions. We are very lucky the publisher is here, so we can quiz the publisher and ask all kinds of questions. So The Palace on the Higher Hill, a novel about the West Bank, and it's a contemporary French novel also in its structure and references. A novel about love, belonging, family, queerness, language, food, home, community, place, joy, hate, and it's a cracking read. Karim, in conversation with Will Forrester during the Beyond Words Literature Festival at the Institut Français, in May, said, "The Palace on the Higher Hill is about the collapse of a monied, cosmopolitan Palestinian family. What happens after such a family has collapsed? One of the things I was interested to look at is how class works in the West Bank, how it really works under occupation, and how it impacts relationships, politics, memory, objects, property." Anyway, it's a novel with many things going on. So now I will open it up to all of you, and let's hear what you thought about it.
Well, I'm interested. I love the way you say, and for people who haven't read it or finished it, here is a blah blah. And I've read it and finished it, but even what you said was very enlightening. Because I sort of thought those are the things it was about, but not knowing the situation at all, or French literature at all, it was actually quite enlightening, your remarks. I did enjoy it, I would say. I enjoyed it very much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose class is the relationship of his uncle Ayub with a lady referred to as the witch down below. Obviously, that's the obvious big divide, and she's not approved of, etc. Josephine, exactly. That's the obvious one. And then, and it's interesting, his sort of, and the whole relationship with Nawal, who's sort of guarding. She's like the guardian of the house, the spirits, etc. It's rather and the sort of interesting alternating rage and affection and nostalgia and anyway. So, but what was it you enjoyed? Did you enjoy anything particularly, or what?
Well, it was very atmospheric, and although I didn't understand all the nuances of, I did learn a lot, which is what I like about books like that. You learn a lot, and you get a personal perspective on things that are going on the wide global stage.
Yes.
Which sort of really brings it to life for you, I think. And the French, being French, I thought was interesting as well.
Well, I mean, there is that feeling of, in a way, the impending threat. There's always the noises off, the settlers, and it's this huge. And I love the idea of the fact of the haunted house on the hill kind of keeps them away, spirits. But in the end, anyway. So.
But there also actually sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, go for it.
But the class system, if you look at it, he talks about, although there are a lot of Islamic names such as Faysal, Ibrahim, they're all Islamic names, and the Christian, and and the interesting aspect of it, how I connected, because I was losing myself, because it was going backwards and forwards.
It's sort of like a tapestry.
Yes, and it was really quite. I was trying desperately hard. Although I like the the translation, it's beautiful. But it was about, because I wasn't quite sure, was Faysal the narrator? Then instead of Faysal, George came. I said, well, who on earth is George?
Well, that was his partner. He came to see him.
Yes. So,
exactly, it's a bit of a load. Yeah.
But all these links in some ways, to Muhammad the Prophet. It was how I linked it, I couldn't, because Muhammad the Prophet was actually, exiled from Mecca and went to Medina. And Muhammad was saved by a Christian family. And so when he built the big mosque in Medina, Medina, yes, and he actually built a chapel within the mosque for the Christian. So hence this backwards and forwards, this is my interpretation. It doesn't connect many things.
It's classical Arabic, which is the language of the Quran.
Yeah,
that's right.
And we say sometimes it's the equivalent of speaking Shakespearean English. You wouldn't go
that's
to
right,
a corner shop and speaking Shakespearean
and then
English.
spoken,
Not even the
exactly.
most eloquent of English speakers would speak like this in this current time. Having said that, I think adding a dialect into a story adds richness. It doesn't take away from it.
Yeah. Palestinian culture is very rich
100%.
in terms of storytelling, and that's the thing. A lot of the libraries and centres and all that have been destroyed, but then also a lot of it comes out in the fabric, of course. It's famous. I mean, it's so. I mean, my understanding was that there were various dialects.
Yeah, and
So,
I was gonna say just in relation to. So I'm Muslim, and in relation to the Palestinian dialect or the Palestinian culture, Palestine is very beloved to Muslims because it bears religious relevance, not just for Muslims but Christians and Jews.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to highlight that. So personally, I haven't finished the whole book. I've just started. I'm new to this.
That's fine.
I have intentions of finishing it, but I believe adding Palestinian dialects would only add to the richness and make it more real, more relatable.
Well, also for centuries, actually, people all lived together quite well. I mean, perfectly well. It's really in the 20th century when all the trouble started. When all the Western, basically all the Western imperialist powers started, the British, etc., etc. That's when all the really, I'm not saying there weren't arguments and problems, of course. If you read the Old Testament, the Old Testament's an amazing, it's sort of soap opera, dare I say it, with the risk of sounding, but, everyone, it was all local and everyone sort of had their way of sorting it out without too much outside interference. And I think, so this is what I found it very interesting, because there he is in a way, it's like a sort of, the house is almost like a mausoleum. Yes. It's like this mausoleum, and there he is, and they're all rattling around, and then there's a threat from the outside, and it's like talking about preserving. It's almost a place like a house like that. It's not only the people, it's the things. And there's the odd description of things, and there's a portrait. What's this? For several days, I've had the feeling that Ayub's portrait is scolding me for something. Ibrahim's figure is high above the dining room like a soaring eagle. What does he, the coward, the one who left, have to tell me? There are these little references to. And it's almost, there's something it's almost museum-like, the house. I mean, it's interesting that, to me, it's, I don't know, it's a publisher who's, it's symbolic in a way, isn't it, the house, I thought in a metaphorical way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the house is everything.
It's everything, exactly.
The house is everything. And the house, and the stuff within the house. I think that was what was so interesting listening to Karim when Karim spoke and he talked about it. It's just like, and as you read it, you'll notice that his descriptions of the stuff within the house. So there are these great descriptions of the 6 drawing rooms. It's like it has the Haifa drawing room and the Jericho drawing room and this drawing room and that drawing room. And it's just depending on where you were in Palestinian society, you got invited to whichever drawing room. And the furniture within the drawing rooms and the ceramics and all this stuff.
The richness of
it. To show, because they were a trading family.
Yeah.
And, trading from everywhere. And I think that idea of Palestine, that corner of the world at the centre of West and East and trading everything madly is really important to it.
Yeah. Very important. And also, dare I say it now, at the moment, all you see in the media is desperate, starving, impoverished, and it's like, hang on, it's a very rich place culturally, linguistically, sociologically, in many ways. That's to me very important. It's very important.
The reason that I wanted to publish it was because it demonstrated a completely different
view
vision of Palestine that people don't. I mean, and quite right. We talked about doing this before the 7th of October happened, and so before everything, and this was written way before the 7th of October happened. So it's kind of from a different time almost, despite the fact that it's only 3 years old. But I was desperate to show that richness.
Exactly.
And I think that it's so the fact that they are incredibly wealthy and upper class and the fact that they're Christian are just two totally totally confounding ideas that we have of Palestine.
Yeah.
And I found that really captivating about it, and that's one of the. It's the main reason I wanted to publish it, to be honest.
Well, also there's something very moving. There's something also rather because the way there's always the external threat of being taken over, and there are passages in the book that, given what is going on now, that are absolutely painful. There's one where talking about Ayub savouring the calm of the house and the terrace and the view. He could understand why some would die for these hills. In the distance, Judea shimmered pink. He felt overcome by immense sadness. This landscape had the beauty of something not long for this world. He found it beautiful because it wouldn't be theirs for much longer. He couldn't understand the nationalistic fervour that had broken out around him. Maybe he was too soft-hearted for such considerations. Hadn't they already lost in 48 and 67 again after that and again and again? Would they keep on losing everything down to their last breath? Would they all go like lambs down to the slaughter until there wasn't a single one of them left? Without reading that, that is positively painful, of course, now. But it's just, he's and also the different relationships are interesting.
Does he know what he's doing there? I mean, enlighten me. But he's there and he stays there, and George tries to get him to come back, and he doesn't go. But does he know what he's doing there?
One feels not. I mean, there's a sense of almost duty. What is expected of him?
That's a great question
exactly.
of the book. Is
what is he doing?
Why is Faysal there?
Why
was he pulled back? And why does he stay? What is this kind of thing that means that Faysal has thrown everything up in the air in Paris or Brussels or London or wherever he lives and his relatively comfortable life? And why has he got to go back to the palace? What is it that compels him to go back to the palace?
Exactly. Yeah, and you don't even.
And I think that's a great thing to
I think you can never escape your family, and my name is Mustafa.
Hi.
You can never escape your family and your roots. You will come back eventually. I mean, he grew up there as a child, and then he had to leave. But it shows you, and the fact that Nawal is the one who called him back, like she faked the death of an aunt, and he even doubted himself whether the aunt existed or not. It was a bit funny. And then there's a paragraph at the end where she says, "What hope, what relief that he came." So I think it's just like a symbolism that you shouldn't leave what's yours, whatever is yours. So wherever you go in the world, like I'm Lebanese, and I'm here now. I've been here for 5 years, but eventually I will come back, even though I might have like a happy life here and everything. But it will never feel like home until you go back. There's a feeling that you will only experience when you go back.
Especially if you feel like you're kicked out of that place. It's not like you decided to leave. I think if you ask any Palestinian, I'm Lebanese as well, so if you ask any Palestinian, would you rather live anywhere in the world or in Palestine? It's a lot. I've never been to Palestine, but Lebanon is very similar, like the nature, the olive trees.
Very beautiful.
The sea.
The mountains,
everything.
It's paradise, actually.
It is very nice.
And it's very rich, like the culture, like how we all live together, Muslims and Christians. Definitely there's a lot of problems, I would say, but in general it's a very nice place to live. Like, people are very welcoming. Food is very good.
Delicious food.
The food. Well, the food is such a big part of it. Nawal constantly cooking,
exactly.
And I just think the food is such a big part of the book.
But then also the infamous greenhouse.
And the infamous greenhouse.
The infamous greenhouse and the wicked priest. The depraved Christianity, the depraved priest, basically. That's
discussing these parts of it. The part where he says, she's right, I don't like this land, I never wanted to come back here. This is what he says. And then he says, she's right, this land is like a heartache. Closure is something we hope for. It's easy to think that it's so stupid. It's just a man, it's just a strip of land, there's no point. But how can such pointless things make us ache so much? It's so true. Even now, when I go back to Lebanon, now it's a shithole to live in, to be honest. because of the economical situation.
Well, it's because of the terrible leadership.
Yeah.
Everywhere, the leaders are just.
But it still feels different.
It's home, yeah.
Like whenever I go back, it feels there's this sense of peace that you will not get except where you grow up and where your memories are, and that's why I think he went back. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a Palestinian thing because nearly every single Palestinian person I spoke to in the diaspora community, no matter where they are or how well off they might be or successful, they yearn to go back.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something about what you said, Mustafa. Your roots will almost call you back, and that yearning will always be there. But I think it's even more in Palestine.
Well, maybe also there is the fact about whether you're booted out or not, or somebody else has the keys to your house.
Yes.
I mean, I do sometimes feel like when people hear they're not, I think, well, how would you like it if somebody just came and marched into your house and said, that's it, it's mine?
Yeah.
Well, I think people, in Englishman's home is his castle, is the saying. Well, I think they, this is the thing. This is why I think reading good fiction like this is it. Anyway, it's so important.
And he
it's
keeps
huge.
referring to them as the settlers, which is a quite sort of a very mild turn.
Well, it is. It's very
given
civilized.
that they are invading there, and taking over their property.
Yeah, but he's rather civilized.
Yeah.
So I was just listening to something this morning about.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
And I apologise if this is. No one's obliged to answer this question. This is for both of you. Do you feel that Palestinian authors now have to be very... Sorry, I'm trying to use English writing. Try and be balanced or, for lack of a better term, politically correct in how they refer to these settlers. And as a publisher yourself, do you feel there's room for Palestinian or non-Palestinian authors to just say it as it is in their writing? You're not obliged to answer, but
no. I'm very happy to answer that. I'm very happy to answer that. I think, the term settler is very widespread.
It's very widespread.
Like we talk about
it's what you
settlers
say.
It's like a euphemism that the Israeli state has decided it's going to use for Jewish people who they want to move onto the West Bank.
Instead of saying invader or something.
So settler is, I think there's definitely in the voice of a Palestinian, I think the word settler has a very, very double-edged blade.
Of course,
to it.
Of course.
And do I think people have to? No, I think. I mean, as I said, it's an odd Palestinian book for us to have published now because it doesn't address what's going on now. And certainly when Karim came over, he was quite nervous about it because it's like, well, this is about, incredibly fancy people with 6 drawing rooms and Sèvres porcelain in, some house outside Nablus. It's like, it's not about people's lives being taken away from them in Gaza. And is that what we should be talking about now? So I had to give him a pep talk and go, well, it's all a bit late for that. There are 2,000 copies have been printed. Get to every bookshop in the United Kingdom and talk about it.
Well, I would also say Saki Books have published something called Daybreak in Gaza.
I've got that,
And that actually is absolutely frontline accounts from everybody. And that's amazing. It's very strong and it's very beautiful. So yes, but I think personally this is the joy of very good publishing. There is room for all kinds of books and experiences.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be classist. I don't want to be... Everyone has a right to their story. And I think actually, as you said earlier, I think it's good for people to see, so there was a huge upper class with huge rooms. I mean, that's as well as people not, the workers from where, that is a society. Humans are, hierarchical, whether we like it or not. I tend towards democracy, and I'm a bit of an old 1970s sort of community person, but you can't help it. I mean, this country is a feudal democracy, isn't it? There's a king still with all the lackeys and all the rest of it. So, come on. I think it's interesting to see that personally. Anyway, that's how I would answer you. So, but settler is a catch-all. That's all. I mean, otherwise, what? And there are other descriptions. They're quite unpleasant. Also, some of the descriptions they're quite thuggish, and there's some quite unpleasant stuff around. Sorry, Judith, what you were going to say, Judith, tell me.
I want to ask Richard a question. Can you tell us a little bit about Well, for starters, can you tell us a little bit about Karim as a person, what he's like to work with, where he lives,
Sure.
and why he wrote the book in French?
So, because he is, so his story is he left Palestine. He was born in Jerusalem. He's a Bethlehem family. I think he was about 6 or 7 when they left, and they settled in Paris. So his father is actually a British citizen because his father was born in British India. And his mother, I don't know how his mother's a French citizen, but his mother's a French citizen. Anyway, essentially he grew up in Paris, and he lives in Paris. And so he's completely trilingual. I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, his English he speaks English like we speak English. I mean, absolutely brilliant. I obviously can't judge the Arabic, but after our thing at the Institut, we went to that amazing Lebanese restaurant just opposite the Institut Français, and it was just like Karim suddenly took over, and it's like we're having all of this, and whatever. So so he is trilingual. He writes sometimes in English. Some of his prose he writes in English, but this, he felt that French was the right medium for him to write this particular story in.
But also, it's a French education system.
He's a French education system.
I mean, there is that very much. I've had that with other writers.
Absolutely.
There's actually a wonderful writer called Abdurrahman Waberi from Djibouti, and who is now in America, actually, and teaches in America. He was like all the same. The French education system gave you a sort of structure, basically. So, and I think that's across, whether you like it or not, with the colonial, they did give a structure, and then within that you have your own. So and at the Institut Français, Karim did say about he's Palestinian and he's both Palestinian and French. There's this whole issue that rumbles along about la francophonie and whether you're the French. Anyway, that's the whole other subject about the French being rather, you are a French writer or a francophone writer. That's a big debate, but let's not get into that now.
But anyway, and his as you say, it is really important. So he feels kind of, he is in the wake of Proust and Jean-Paul Sartre and all of this. So he feels that kind of French literariness because he studied literature in France.
But then he's also in France. You've got Taha Ben-Jelloun, who's Moroccan, but he lives in Paris. You've got Amin Malouf, who's the most fantastic Lebanese writer. Yeah. So you've got a very good. There's a very good. Not Assia Djebar. I mean, there's strings of wonderful French. Lebanese and it's.
I mean, we're publishing a Lebanese author next year, actually, who lives in Paris, but writes in Arabic.
Right. Okay.
Doesn't write in French, but he lives in Paris.
Right.
He's called Souab Ayoub.
Souab Ayoub. Yeah.
Do you? With the hair?
Yes.
With the hair.
We're publishing Souab next year.
Oh, lovely.
We're publishing Satin Man.
Well, I met him, last time I saw him was 10 years ago in Lebanon.
Okay.
Oh, well, there we go.
Around
wonderful.
Are you from Tripoli?
Well, next to Tripoli.
Okay.
Oh, I love him.
Well, we'll have to feature him. We'll have to do him next year, darling.
Amazing book.
Oh, good.
Can we know what it's about? Or?
Which book is it?
It's called Satin Man.
I read it in Arabic.
Did you love it?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Satin Man.
It's called Satin Man.
He's a very interesting man. He comes from a very, how can I say, Islamic culture, and he's gay, and he was very courageous to come out in a very closed society.
Okay.
And this is him, and he's such a lovely person.
So the Satin Man is about that. It's about him standing up and.
I mean,
no, it's a fictionalized account, and it's got gangsters. It's got gangsters. It's about a kid who grows up with a seamstress, and it's really cool.
Okay.
It's really cool.
Fun.
It's great fun.
Oh,
it's fun, right?
It is fun.
It's a fun book.
No, I will message him now.
You must do.
We've mentioned.
Now you were going to say something.
This book is really interesting for me. I think it's the first authentic Palestinian voice I've read. Normally we tend to get the Western perspective or the Israeli perspective, very rarely someone from the West Bank or Gaza. So I really appreciate this book. I'm very glad that he's actually stuck to the outsider's perspective, and just hearing about his background, that is very much truly and rightly so, because I feel like if you are someone who lives currently in the West Bank, perhaps fiction would look slightly differently, the voice would be different. But what really struck me with this book is the sadness, the heartbreak, the lost life to struggle, born in struggle, dying in struggle, and almost this sense of finality when he's even talking about this museum about Palestine culture in the West Bank. That really broke me, because your sort is we've lost the cause. And that's why the land is so important, because that's why the roots and the identity is so important, because, you know, with the Jews, they were fighting for that because they didn't have it, and now it's like with the Palestinians on that side. It's a book that really kind of made me research and sort of even advocate and do as much as I can. I couldn't just stay on the side. I just couldn't be impartial to what's happening. So it really touched me.
I will thank you. It was a really beautiful thing to say. Thank you. And I think, you know, he would super, super appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting. It's what I found interesting here was that the way Josephine was a polarizing figure. People either liked her or not, and I thought she sounded rather fabulous, actually. I thought it was quite an interesting how he developed her as a... Didn't you? Yeah.
Absolutely. But isn't that part of I'm sorry, I'm going to get his name right, Karim's skill, in that, you know, with these horrible circumstances, some of the, not stereotype, that's not, I don't want to say prototype, it's not the word I'm looking for, but, you know, she could be in Baltimore, she could be in Berlin, she could be in Benin, you know, I think that's something he does extremely skillfully. And not for a second to diminish, you know, the horror of this guy coming back and saying, we have no idea if this house is going to be standing next week. But that was one of the questions I want to ask you, Richard, was, does he have a sense of humor?
He's literally the most charming person you can imagine. I mean, he's really charismatic, right?
He's very charismatic.
Because I'm guessing, in order to deal with his sort of self-imposed exile, and how he obviously feels very strongly about Palestine, and dealing with what's happening today, he must have a sense of humor to not be completely po-faced about the whole thing. Yes. Very much so.
And I think it came through in the book as well. There were elements of it. I like the fact that Ibrahim was selling underwear to the...
selling underwear, that was terribly funny, I know.
I mean, it's like, what a twist!
That was quite a twist, the underwear, I know.
I liked about this book several stuff. I actually loved it. I finished it yesterday. And it literally took me like 5 days to finish. So the prose is amazing. It's poetically written, like especially when he describes, like, I killed a man, a settler, a man but a settler but a man. Like how he's playing with the words, which was nice. And then in several parts, like in the speech of my landspeople is the sea, in the syllables is the waves crash, and their laughter it's foam. So the importance of the geography itself of the area. And what I liked, like I knew about the whole settlers, because in Lebanon we grew up knowing about everything about that. And we think we're the only one who have problems in the world. But then when you grow up, you discover that worldwide everyone have their own problems. I think what was nice, so we always expect from black people to write about racism, from immigrants to write like me, if I'm writing a book, you should write about immigration. But then, and from Palestinian people to write about the whole Palestinian-Israel thing. But then in this book, it wasn't only about that. It was about his family, his homosexuality, his grandfather's homosexuality, which was really interesting.
Very well done.
And that's why I liked it. I mean, we don't expect these people to have other stories other than their misery.
Absolutely.
Well, he does have a story.
Absolutely. And everybody has a story.
That's why I like it. Like,
that makes me completely delighted as a publisher, because that's why I wanted to publish it, so that everybody would get that sense of there just being many more dimensions.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that is so interesting about Karim, one of the things that he said in all of his talks was, it's like, I am expected to be a Palestinian writer and to write about Palestine and to do whatever. And he's like, there's just like lots of nuance, and I want to write about the food, and I want to write about what the land, and I think he does it really, really, really well.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I ask you a question about the prose? And this is like kind of at two removes, because it's an English book of a French translation. But I think one of the things that Karim said a lot when we were working on it was that his French, and if you read it in French, do you speak French?
Nidal does.
Yeah. If you read it in French, you will see this. Yeah. The French is quite influenced by Arab. It's like the metaphors and the imagery. Yeah. There's quite a lot of sort of floral stuff and stuff that you might expect to find more in Arabic than in French imagery, which I thought was really interesting when he was talking about that before.
Like when he described the moon, he said the Bedouin moon.
Yeah, the Bedouin moon.
Oh, that was lovely. But it's very poetic.
Yeah,
it's very beautiful. Poetic. I love that.
Yeah, and Nawal is a character I would like to sit with and talk. Actually, she's really interesting.
Yeah.
Although she broke my heart at the end. The last chapter was really, really sad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was so sad.
It was some tears. And I'm sorry again. I'm going to speak to you, Richard. But I do speak French pretty well, and I did read it in English. But congratulations to Jeffrey.
Congratulations to Jeffrey, indeed. Congratulations to Jeffrey.
I don't know what the
very, very good.
Yeah.
Well, he's a very good translator.
Yeah.
But not easy, indeed.
I think he probably did kill the settler at the beginning.
Yeah, he did kill him.
I mean, I think he killed the settler at the beginning.
Did you feel bad about it afterwards?
I think he didn't feel anything.
Right.
Yeah.
He was indifferent.
He wasn't sure if he wanted to bury him or not.
Yeah.
Just let him.
And he's ugly. He said something about him being ugly.
Or the ugliest man.
He's justified.
Or the ugliest. Yes.
If he was pretty or handsome, he would have let him kill him.
But I don't know. I mean, I found the incident when he was a child, why he got sent away to boarding. I find that a bit. Yes. I found that much more opaque.
Oh, very opaque. Yeah,
and I didn't quite know what had gone on there and what.
I mean, it is all rather surreal, actually. The way that's on page 8, how it's described. I had a gun. I'd come out of the house and sat down in the clearing. I'd found the revolver in Nawal and Ibrahim's bedroom. I'd come outside with a glass of lemonade in my hand and the gun in my pocket, and these plans to put an end to my life in a bucolic, unremarkable place.
That's exactly what we were saying about Karim feeling that he's the heir of French literature, because it is obviously it's like it's a reference to l'étranger.
Absolutely.
No, when she read it,
it is actually, and then he's
What's
and then
that, sorry?
So The Stranger by Albert Camus, which like what was it? Maman.
J'ai tué un homme.
Yesterday I killed a man, and it starts. Yesterday I killed a man. And it sort of goes backwards from there.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask, do you think there were things that were lost in translation? Like, I know it's quite nuanced already from the little that I've read, but do you think there were things that were lost in translation?
Well,
your opinion?
I hope not very much. No, we worked very, very, very hard to make sure. Or I mean, the translator and Jeffrey and me as the editor, we worked very hard to make sure. And you do work very hard when you do what we do, which is try to bring books from a foreign language into English. You work very hard to make sure all those nuances are there. And actually, I think there are some. So I'm working on an Italian one at the moment, which is filled with like Italian references that people here just won't get. Yep. So then you have to make a decision to go, right, do you labour this or do you just let it go because it doesn't actually alter the narrative or change the characters or anything like that? Whereas this one actually, I think, is incredibly, incredibly faithful to the French. Yeah. It feels like a very fair representation. It
does
of what
feel
the French.
Like quite a fair. But also, I like the whole business also about the village.
Yes.
And you think Chamberet, and he says it's like I have a fairy tale and how pretty it is, and then also that it means two hills, etc. How how many of these villages actually are destroyed?
I've only been a couple of times. And
To where, sorry?
I've been to the West Bank. I've been to Israel and the West Bank and Lebanon. But I think the thing that is the light is that light and the stone. Yeah. It's that stone that's that colour that is kind of, I don't know, it's like celestial. It is sort of celestial. It's like this. The buildings have this amazing, amazing light to them, and I think that's
really special.
Really fascinating.
The sun is different. So.
Yeah. No. And as I sort of keep saying, I think that's why I love this, because I think it made me see that scenario from a very, very different place, actually, and from a sort of not strident place. I mean, there's anger. There's a lot of anger in this book. There is definitely anger.
Absolutely,
in it, but it's not kind of. I thought its sort of lack of being really strident, I thought was interesting. I thought the subtlety of it, and the sort of you're not quite sure, and the fact that it's structured in this way, that it's like, and it's like what's kind of happening.
And you can feel it.
And you can feel it.
From the way it's written.
And actually it's channeled. When you're writing about something very emotional, what is interesting about Karim, this is emotional, but he doesn't go into gush and hysteria.
Yeah. Exactly.
And let the event speak for itself.
Sure not to.
And so he's actually, exactly, showed it, and it's also because of the language he uses, he's very poetic.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the poetry comes in for me. The way then he will somehow describe the interior of Josephine's house.
I love
and that somehow, that brings across, it's his way of showing an emotion, weirdly. You see what I mean? It's through the plants or through...
Softness of Josephine's house. The softness of the furniture and the softness of the
pure
garden.
volupté, c'est la volupté.
Volupté.
Thank you all for listening to the BookBlast podcast, recorded live at Hatchard's at our book club discussion about Karim Kattan's novel, The Palace on the Higher Hill, translated by Jeffrey Zuckerman, published by Foundry Editions. And thank you, Richard Village, Karim's publisher, for joining us and giving us so many illuminating insights. Please do visit the bookshop at bookshop.org online if you'd like to get a copy and read it for yourself.